A very good day to you, ladies and gentlemen, from whatever part of the world you're watching us. Welcome to another episode of the Candid Talk here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Herman Manyora. It's a pleasure to have you on board. Of course, we promise that we'll be bringing you comprehensive analysis of everything taking place in this country with regards to the politics and governance therein. And of course, this morning I'm glad to be joined by a gentleman here, and of course one of the fast rising young men and young leaders in this country, Rigathi. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, bro. I'm happy to be here. It's a great work you people are doing. It is not just a privilege for me, it is also an honor to be here to engage the public through this channel that has played positively.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We are here, and welcome to the Candid Talk. We always keep it simple. And of course, those who are watching us for the first time definitely would like to encourage you to subscribe to this channel. And of course, if at all you don't know, or rather you're seeing Rigathi here for the first time, of course he's a graduate of the University of Nairobi School of Economics therein. I understand that you're also pursuing your law degree as well.
Yeah, as a law student at the same University of Nairobi, Parklands campus. I took a break. I'm here to recover from the previous political happening. But within next year I'll get back and clear on that degree again.
And of course you've also served as the governor of the main campus in the University of Nairobi. How does it actually work out? How does it feel getting to lead students at the university? Does it in any way prepare you for anything in the future?
Actually, it does. For myself, I can say that my life as a student always revolved around leadership. From primary, I happened to be hired by a small post though, but introduced me and gave me that urge when I went to high school also to seek to govern students. In my high school days, in my final year, I represented the student body we are used to call the school president. That one also gave me that energy. When I got to campus again, I was propelled into the campus student politics. Now they said it was different. You are not just representing students to the administration, but also sent outside now to engage, to advance the student affairs and the youth affairs nationwide. So it does prepare you. There are challenges that comes with it. And I usually believe that in whatever course you participate, if there is nothing that can challenge you and send you to the parking, then it's not worth it. So it does prepare you. You learn the political language, political management approach. It's so good. It's so that I do always encourage people. I believe you're still a student. I don't understand why we didn't get out there and seek for one of these elective posts.
Okay, now let's get it political here. Now let's look at how things are taking place in the country with regards to how President William Ruto is actually maneuvering around and managing to do a lot of things. Let me just go to one of the statements that he made back then. He says that I am happy that I'm the president of Kenya when things are tough, because when they are, it needs someone like me to lead. If it was someone else, Kenya would have already sunk. Now look at that kind of statement from the president. Looking at how things are taking place in the country right now and the kind of life that Kenyans are actually going through, which kind of scenario, rather situation, do you think the president finds himself in? And why do you think that quite often he always thinks of, had it been another person, then the country would have been worse?
Well, that is a very reckless statement from the president. For you to believe as a leader, one of the qualities of a leader is humility. Humility, seeking advice, being approachable, listening to the people. No one can lead as an individual. And when you are elected to a position of leadership, it is usually a privilege. Not that you are the best. There are so many people that can do whatever is doing, can sit in that position as a president and actually take this country to the direct direction. But to get such a, it's very unfortunate for such a statement to come from the head of state, that he believes that the moment someone believes that is the best, it means even the people who are around him, the advisors, there's nothing they can do. Because there is someone who has positioned, has presented himself as someone who is the best. Meaning, whatever you'll be taking to him in form of advice, be it economically, politically, socially, it will on a dead stock. He is not going to listen. So that was a very, very reckless statement. I want to be fair to President Ruto. I didn't vote him, but I can tell you that Ruto is one good politician. But his leadership skills is something that has been questionable from his days when he was in the YK 1992. The YK 92, the party that propelled Moi, the organization that pushed Moi into the first multi-party election. He has been very reckless from there. We've seen him through when he was the MP for Eldoret North, when he pushed Raila, especially towards the 2007 election. He's someone who is very impatient, and he wants it now. He wants it now. Imminent success, and it's the best. He always presented himself as the best person. He has solution to everything. And that one brings out now the challenge that we are facing today. Indeed, it's a common statement that Kenya is not going to the right direction. And I don't really understand why it is only the people who to some extent are perceived not to have voted him that are seeing that things are not right. But to some extent also, if you engage from the two regions, be it the central, the Mount Kenya region, the vast Rift Valley, mostly I've seen a crop of people, especially from Nandi, people from Elgeyo Marakwet, his backyard, questioning the way he's conducting himself, the way his government is trying to push some of the policies they have. People don't really understand. When he came in, Ruto, one thing that propelled, well, personally, I don't believe that Kenyans and the African continent as a whole, that our voting elections, that our voting is value-based, our politics is value-based. I don't believe so. It is not an issue-based politics. But if whatever the agenda that the two political divides had, if it is anything to go by, that I can say that Ruto propelled himself to the presidency by positioning himself as being a person for those who are from the sorry background, the lowest in the pyramid, the hustlers, the people that he gave them a name called the hustler. But if you look at the way things are now, the same hustlers, when he defined the hustlers, he mentioned the watu wa bodaboda, mama mboga, watu wa mkokoteni, the people that are most, we call them in the SMEs. The new taxation, the fuel prices, things are not working right. So these people are questioning what is really going on.
So as a young man, do you believe the country is headed in the right direction?
No, far from being right. Very far from being right.
Let's now get it here. We've had the cost of living here being a political card, and of course it was quite used by the president right now during the campaign period. And he said very well back then that he could not actually be silent, rather be happy when the prices of goods and basic commodities were escalating at that particular period in time. But then right now, this same card is now being used by the opposition. And I saw the new members of parliament and all those leaders allied to that particular coalition say that even in the bipartisan discussions that were going on with the National Dialogue Committee, if at all the cost of living is not put as one of the issues that will be addressed therein, then they would actually not agree to anything that the other side would go. Now, this card has been played here politically while Kenyans are suffering. Do you think that it has got any influence right now, or rather, if at all, will it impact perhaps the 2027 elections now that Ruto is in charge?
Allow me maintain my position that elections in this country and the continent as a whole is not issue-based. The cost of living, the difficulties that people experience, even Ruto himself, you remember when he was still working when he was still the deputy president. Any other time, the then President Uhuru Kenyatta, any other time after every financial year, when the new budget was out, he will recall a presser. While still serving as a deputy president, called a press and he told people he has a plan. There's a time he even threatened one of his members, one of his key lieutenants, threatened to call for a nationwide demonstration. If the cost of unga was not lowered, if the cost of fuel. And Mr. Ruto is on record, not once, not twice, but times without number, saying that one of the reasons why he questioned how the fuel that sells in Uganda, the fuel that sells in the neighboring country, Uganda, Sudan, DRC, Congo, Rwanda, was cheaper. Yet they go through Kenya. He's on record. He called a presser for that. But the same Ruto now, that is now the president, we are in a situation where the cost of fuel is now high. Fuel retail has a much higher price than you are. So these are just things that politicians always use to whip the emotions of the people. They are a thing for a moment. Today, if politicians stop talking about mentioning anything to do with the cost of living, the general populace will not. They'll be very comfortable. You know, it is so hard to understand the nature of the general public. The general public are people, they have how democracy was opined. Democracy was opined a way that it was seeking to have the people, the so-called electorates, to make decisions for themselves. So that after periodically, in Kenya, after every 5 years, you overweigh the people you elected. These people, these are the challenges, where we needed these challenges to be what? To be addressed. You weigh them. Cost of living, how is it? Is it doing well? No. Employment, unemployment rate, is it doing well? Industrialization, manufacturing, how is it doing? Processing, how is it doing? It's so bad. But now, immediately after election, such positive conversations are always there among the public. But I don't know what usually happens when we are now approaching election. People are now divided. People are now divided, want to vote. Our elections are always more of tribal arithmetic. If you do it well, you have your numbers right, you have it, regardless of what we present on the table.
But the president said that for the first time as a country, our elections were based on issues and not actually the tribal kind of affiliations that we had in the past.
That was a wishful saying. Wishful saying just to advance, but see, it's said for his agenda. He's so much focused in Mount Kenya region. Well, those are not his people, but the Mount Kenya, those people, they had something against, a vendetta against. There's a new candidate, the then Raila Odinga, something that has been there historically. And if you are very keen for them, because, well, I have no problem with having people from the president's backyard voting him. The same way those of us who are perceived to be opposition backyard, I have no problem with someone from the Raila's backyard voting him. Because that has been the nature of our politics. But then, to a region that did not produce a presidential candidate, they have so much to look into when they are going to vote. They should not vote based on, this is our person, this is our son, this is our daughter. No, for them, they have that political space and the environment to consider, no, we have two candidates here, none of them is from our region, regardless of the fact that their deputies were from that region, to look into it. But then that was not coming out. No one from Mount Kenya was telling you I'm voting Ruto because of his agenda for the people. No one clearly. So, however much they presented it to be an issue based. For me, I wasn't seeing that issue. And if you want to prove that, among the issue that they presented, tell me one area, any policy that has been implemented. So it can't be issue based.
Because we've got the hustler fund here. That is anyway debatable.
He promised.
It is debatable because the president actually made a lot of promises.
He made a lot of promises, but the key thing was the cost of living. The key thing towards the September 9th was the cost of living. He promised to address unemployment. He promised to address. It's so bad now. Industrialization. There's nothing he has done. Apart, let me say that credit to the hustler fund, which has not impacted our economy any positive that we can say.
These people are actually strategizing towards the 2027 general elections, and so many times I've had the president mention the name of Kalonzo Musyoka even when he was down there in Nyanza, saying very well that the former prime minister would actually front Kalonzo Musyoka and back the leader of Wiper party against the president right now in 2027 elections. Now let's get to that card, and then of course I've heard you mention something to do with the Central Kenya. We'll speak about that a little bit at the tail end of this conversation. Baba versus Kalonzo Musyoka. We saw the other day Baba come forth in that kind of meeting that they were in Sia, saying very well that the as new side will actually support Kalonzo Musyoka, and that Ruto would not actually do it, would not actually confuse them. Then days later, he refuted those claims and said He didn't say actually that he would support him. I'm actually confused. This back and forth between Raila and Kalonzo and their support, and how the Azimio generally is strategizing towards 2027 with all this confusion that is geared in. One, do you believe that Raila would actually support Kalonzo Musyoka come 2027? And if he does, how then would that actually tilt the political perhaps influence of Kalonzo Musyoka towards the presidency in 2027?
Well, the back and forth in the opposition side, to some, the Baba is on record, not the first time. Not the first time. There's a time during those Mandamano, was it Monday or Tuesday? There's a time when I happened to attend one of his functions at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Foundation. He was on record there for the first time. He said that it is not about Raila. 2027 he made it, 2027 Raila atakuwepo. So that was the first time he hinted at supporting someone else. By then he did not mention Kalonzo, but again when he was in Siaya, he made it public. And I agree with him, the description he gave about Kalonzo, a very humble man, a very patient man, a listening personality. I want to agree to some extent, the description that he gave Kalonzo to some extent meets those one that we only saw in President Kibaki. Someone was very comfortable. Kibaki was not the roof of top president kind. The roadside shows, I know that was not Kibaki. And to some extent, I see such qualities in Kalonzo Musyoka. For me, Baba has tried his best. Personally, I'm on record several. I do support Baba. I love Baba. The things that Baba has done for this country, you can't write off. But again, it gets to a point when the point of acceptance, you've tried your best, the people cannot see. All those things you try to advance, you cannot see. This is someone that through his coalition with Kibaki, they gave Kenya, not just Kenya, the East and Central Africa region. There was no country that have ever tried anything to do with free primary education. Basic. From 0 to +8, you are done. The first ever. This is something that implement. It is during that time that we saw some of the best infrastructure development. It is during that time that we see our economy grow threefold. And they worked very closely. Be it, leave alone after the 202, the 207, the best time. Most people credit Kibaki, they forget that much that Kibaki did was during the coalition government. That Raila shared. They shared that government almost equally. And I want to be mean. To some extent, I want to be mean. Not that Kibaki and Raila were so good. What was happening was that with the coalition government, the two divides, they were checking on each other. Those in ODM were checking on those on PNU. Those on PNU were checking on those on ODM. If there's any scandal in the PNU side, the ODM side will be so quick to speak about it. If there's one in the ODM side, the PNU side will be so quick to speak about it. So for me, Baba and this age, age is also a factor. When Baba at 78, we see president, we have regional president, even the Nigerian, the US president is the 80s and is still going to try to seek re-election next year. So it's not just age, but for Baba, having tried 5 times, and he actually believed that he only lost once, it is time he support someone else. And the best person for me in this case is none other than Kalonzo Musyoka.
But one would ask, why would he hint at supporting him, then again refute the same statement that he made? Okay,
there are people around Baba, generally mostly in the region where I come from, that without Raila, they have no agenda for the people. So they want Raila to maintain his presence so that they can find it easy. So for me, I don't think it was Baba. Baba has not come out to state otherwise. That he did not say he's going to support Kalonzo. That statement, well, the communication came from the head of his media team. But I'm very certain that those who are kind of opposed to it are people who are around him. I don't want to mention names, but those people, they always want use. It's so easy in this country to use a big name. Be it the President Ruto, that you hear, you have that ticket, you are endorsed, but you'll find it so easy. So that is the case with Baba.
Okay, now let's look at it this way. If indeed he comes on board and supports Kalonzo, now let's look at this kind of scenario where we will have Ruto versus Kalonzo kind of stuff. How do you think this will play out? And how significant would Baba's support be for Kalonzo Musyoka? Owing to the fact that in the Nyanza region, there are also a little bit some dissenting voices which are also pulling to us side. Do you think that Baba would actually bring in the entire Luo Nyanza bloc to Kalonzo Musyoka's side?
The personality of Baba, Baba, until the day that God will come for him, he will still play a vital role in directing Luo Nyanza politics and to some extent the Western Kenya region as a whole, when he's still active in politics. So for me, directing the Nyanza and the Western Kenya region to support Kalonzo will be so easier for him. Again, how this is going to tilt the political mood of this country, one thing for me, I believe that there's a man who can beat Ruto come 2027 is Kalonzo Musyoka, regardless of who he chooses to be running. Because one, much of these people, Mount Kenya region and the numbers they have, they play a very vital role in determining whoever become the president in this country. Not just Mount Kenya, it is usually the three major tribes. Luo Nyanza, that they usually vote together with the Western Kenya region, the Kalenjin and the Mount Kenya region. The moment you see two of those big communities unite against one, count it done. But this is likely to change, because almost for the very first time or a very long time, but Luo Nyanza, probably let's assume so that we are going to vote Raila stated, Luo Nyanza is not going to produce a presidential candidate. Hopefully, Mount Kenya region may not produce a strong candidate the way things are at the moment. But then Kalonzo comes in. One, Nyanza alone, Luo Nyanza alone, in the previous election, over 700,000 people did not turn up to vote. Over 700,000. The difference between Ruto and Baba was just merely 200,000 votes. And again, much of the Ukambani, it was almost shared, 60-40. Where Baba had attained 60%, Ruto was 40. Because much of them, they did not welcome this move by Azimio. For them it was like Kalonzo had been played in court. Now Kalonzo, Baba has played their son and has picked someone else. So by bringing Kalonzo, having now Kalonzo at the center of the presidency, I think it will be so easier for him to consolidate the Ukambani support, the Ukambani region, Eastern Kenya region, and to some extent the coastal region, because there is so many Kambabati in the coastal region. And that is why even the previous, you've seen Kalonzo even have MPs, MCAs in counties like Tana River, Taita Taveta, you go to Mombasa, Lamu. So it will be so easier for him. The only question is that, is he going to manage to penetrate central, the Mount Kenya region? Because for me, I strongly believe that Mount Kenya region fully, they did not support Ruto because they love him. Sometimes as a politician, you win not because people love you, but you will win because people do not want your opponent. So they go to the best alternative. Kalonzo is really struggling with visibility. For me, I see a gap in Mount Kenya region. If he can take just one county, not necessarily from central Kenya, be it Embu, the upper, formerly it was upper Eastern, Embu, Meru, Tharaka Nithi. For me, it will change the political tide of the country. And that is why you see the president visiting Western Kenya region trying to make inroads. Because you know that should something happen. Because again, I don't know what is going to use to whip the emotion of the Mount Kenya region people to come out and vote him again the way they did in last year, the previous election. So that is why you see the president almost every month is visiting Western Kenya region. He has tried the coastal region because he knows very well that the political tide may change. He is not going to tell them about mtu wa kitendawili. The mtu wa kitendawili may not be there. He is not going to tell them about mganga. Mganga is not going to be there. He is not going to tell them about mtu wa fujo, mtu wa kunua reli. That person knows not that. So there is a gap in the Mount Kenya region that Kalonzo can actually capitalize it. Not to get the majority of the vote, but just to get a share. And that will influence the numbers. So for me, I believe it is time that Baba support Kalonzo Musyoka to see.
Well, let's have it this way. We are waiting to see whether that will actually materialize. Of course, we've seen a lot of pressure being heaped on Raila as well from within. The reports that certain quarters actually would want him to vie, but let's wait and see. Now, there is this quest of unity in Central Kenya region. Of course, a number of leaders there. Right now, I saw reports indicating that the likes of Kanini, Kega tend to think that maybe they're being sidelined by the president in terms of the development staff and all that. And actually right now they're questing for their own unity there. Would you then perhaps say that if at all these people are united and the Azimio faction actually remain on its own, Matakaro here, that kind of Kamwene caucus that they've had, then would actually perhaps be very vital in terms of propelling Azimio actually to victory in 2027?
The Mount Kenya unity is for the leaders. I don't think it's for the people. The people there know that very well, that they are very much united. In fact, if you visit Mount Kenya region, last weekend I was in Muranga and I also passed, I went up to Nyeri. The people there they're so much okay, they don't even know anything to do with some differences among their leaders. But for the leaders to call for unity, it is usually politics is a game of numbers. Can you use your numbers to blackmail whoever is in the position of influence to direct some of the things? Because before Ruto did cabinet reshuffle, it was in our media, not just our media, in the print media, it was all over, that the reason, the problem that the hiccup that you are seeing in the water bodies, be it the Athi water, the other one that was here in the Central Rift, was about the then minister, Alice Wahome, trying to influence that all development project that the country was getting from outside were directed to one region. And the PS, being that it was coming from the region of the president, tried to influence without going through the CS. So the CS felt like she was being overpassed. And through that, we saw a case where she was reshuffled and taken to a different ministry. So these are some of the things that have prompted the call for a united mountain. That is why you see, if not apart from there's the Mount Kenya region leaders that were allied to Azimio, the Kamwene, I think they call themselves Kamwene. They are trying, but for them, they have no backing on the ground. There is just conducting media here and there, but there's other people like the Kanini, Kega who have tried to get back. Try to get back to the ground, tried to be friendly with the UDA. And again, it is on record for the first time we hear Gachagua, someone who is very firm. This is someone who has worked with the former president, who was his PA. I mean, you understand that kind of a relationship. He vowed that there is not a single day he will ever sit down with that man. A man that he foresaw as an evil that was sent to want him. But previously you've had him trying to call out, he's trying to reach out to the former president so that they can speak in one voice. Politically, speaking in one voice does not mean anything. You want to influence. Because when you're in a position of influence, you want more development. Regardless of whoever come, every Kenyan deserves to get all opportunities equally based on merit. But it doesn't work so. It doesn't work. So that is why they are calling for unity. With unity, they can blackmail whoever is in office. We gave you, it is our support that propelled you to president. These are the things we want. Let me give you a case in instance. The one major top question that came with this new administration was the KRA jobs. When the members of parliament now force the KRA body to reveal to them ethnically the people that were employed, 60% went to Mount Kenya region and Rift Valley. Only 40% were shared with other Kenya. So for them, when they talk of unity, those are the things they want. Can you get to the extent that the position, if there is any chance vacancy anywhere, let it go to our people. And that will become easier when you are united.
But of course they do say that politics is about interest.
Yeah, in fact, I'm so happy with Gachagua defined politics as the scramble for scarce resources. It's a pure scramble. Even us, Well, this is for me. This is our continued quest for presidency, our continued quest for governor. You know, so that there's so much magic will do to the country. No, we also want our people. We want people we can reach, who will be in the position of influence, people that we can approach. So that this discrimination that we have faced, I don't know if you've dealt with tribalism, the profiling that have been projected to certain community in this country. It is not easy for a young man like myself. It is not easy. So the moment you walk into a place and then your name, the first thing, this must be a Baba supporter, this is someone who can easily distraction they see. So those are the things. We want the political environment to shift, at least for the first time.
Well and good. Thank you so much, George Regan, for making time for us here on the Candid Talk. Of course, this was an exclusive edition, and we've had this conversation here with him. We do hope that we'll actually invite you once again. But we are on the ground looking at how things are taking place, and we'll wait and see whether Baba will actually support Kalonzo Musyoka and what that could actually mean. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please kindly do not fail to weigh in on this conversation and tell us what you actually think on this topic that we just discussed here. Allow me to wind up at this particular moment, but of course, if at all you're watching us for the first time and you've not subscribed, please do so. Stay tuned to some of our programs. Of course, Richard Mwenja is always here, and Jabel Kabiro is back with Jabel Kabiro Unfiltered. Stay tuned to all this production of Nairobi Review till we have this conversation again. Have yourself a lovely day. My name is Evans Okini.